Hey guys, here we are back again, and this time we're at Mexico in our F1 2021 setup series videos. Mexico is a very fun track to drive, although slightly strange in the fact that it's essentially an exercise of corner cutting as much as you can. It's a track where you really need to push the boundaries of both the corner entry and corner exit, and you can do so legally without getting penalised. It's a track where you want to have good top end speed to be able to attack, especially down the really long pit straight, and you also want solid front end turning to get your car turned in nicely to those 90-degree corners, which will then help you prioritise your exit, ultimately giving you better straight line speed at the end of the straights that follow. So let's jump into the setup and see what we've got to play with. Starting with the aero, I've prioritised the front as I mentioned, just so we can get the car turned in nicely to those 90-degree corners. You really don't want to have a car that understeers around Mexico, otherwise you're just going to compromise your exit speed, which will in turn make you vulnerable during a race down the straight. So go with 9 on the front wing and 7 on the rear. I have seen some time trial setups run this differently, so some time trial setups run at a lower front wing and rear wing, which probably gives you better overall lap time, but as I said, you'll be slower down the straights and faster through the corners, which, unless you're at the front of a race, isn't overly useful. For me, and for best stability and consistency, I've gone with a higher front wing and lower rear. Then moving on to the transmission, I've kept the on-diff exactly where it started at 75%. Mexico's a tricky track to set up your diff for, because the middle part of the lap requires a high on-diff ultimately, where some of the slower, more technical turns, especially the last corner sequence in the stadium area, require a low on-diff. So keeping it balanced is pretty much the way to go. I do like prioritising a lower on-diff, just so you've got better control of your traction loss under acceleration. Then go with the off-diff of 58%, which is pretty much kind of our normal around most tracks at F1 2021. It gives good stability and good turn-in rotation at lower speeds. Then moving on to the suspension geometry, I've gone with close to full right front camber and rear camber. This will help keep the car balanced and stable through that faster sequence in the middle of the track. It'll also help you lean on your car a little bit more through the medium speed 90-degree corners of the first sector. So go with -2.6 at the front and -1.2 on the rear camber. Then for the front toe, I've gone with 0.08, then I've kept the rear toe at 0.2 to minimise drag. It's no surprise that I've gone with a soft front suspension of just 1. As I said, Mexico is essentially an exercise in riding over curbs, so you'll want your front end soft enough to be able to do this without any stability loss. Then for the rear, I've kept it a little bit stiffer of 4. For the front anti-roll bar, I've gone with 5, and the rear, I've gone with 2. Just like on some of my other setups, this will help with stability, especially at medium to high speed. Then go with a front ride height of 3 and rear ride height of 7. For your brakes, run 97% brake pressure and 56% brake bias. This will give you a good, well-rounded setup. And you could always push your front brake bias up to 57, especially for that first corner, but 56% overall throughout the lap is a good balanced way to go. Then for your tyres, I've gone almost maximum pressures on all tyres. The only reason I haven't gone maximum is to help maintain tyre life a little bit. So go with 24.2 on both fronts and 22.7 on both rears. And that rounds out our Mexican F1 2021 car setup. This will give you a car that's soft enough to allow you to jump over those curbs, even some of those really high orange sausage curbs. And I've prioritised the front end so you get good turn in, allowing you to really focus on your exit speed out of the corners, giving you good drive down the long straights. If you like this setup, drop this video a like and let me know how you get on in the comments below. And if you're enjoying these setup videos, subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to be alerted when the next setup videos drop. See you on track, guys.
DRS is now enabled.